It's cleaning day, and you have no idea where to get started. You return and you see the big picture rather than the details. You become discouraged when you try and organize the clutter, and you start to feel overwhelmed. If this is you, stay tuned. So here we are at cleaning day. I need to get the back room clean because I'm going to have a house guest over the weekend. I walk into the room and I realize it's become a catch-all for everything I don't know what to do with. All of this overflow winds up being tossed in this room. The laundry that didn't get folded, the pair of shoes you don't quite know where it goes. Oh, all sorts of magazines. Well, we'll keep them here because of course we'll read them later. Maybe there are several rooms like this, and you ask yourself, where should I start? And a few moments after that, you find yourself doing nothing at all. I should be working on this. But instead, I'm getting distracted. Clutter is too much no matter how I try. So today is just not the day. Clearly, you're overwhelmed by your cluttered environment. This is a no brainer. You can get triggered by other problems very similar to this just as easily. This can be having too many commitments on your time. This could be that really big project, the one that seems like it's going to roll over you like a boulder. One of the most frequent incomplete tasks for people with ADD winds up being acquiring objects. They come home, but they're never given a home for where they'll be. This can be an assortment of small or large things. As the clutter accumulates, overwhelming feelings follow, and it can lead to avoidance. You may find yourself just staying at home, planting yourself in front of the TV, or plugging into the computer to go down a rabbit hole. And this is all to block out that vicious cycle of feeling overwhelmed by your clutter. It leads to that avoidance and neglect, and you spiral deeper into feelings of being alone. Does this sound familiar? Yeah, I think it probably does for most of us at one point or another. Organizing clutter is difficult. My wife only got the fact I'm ADD when we were cleaning the basement together. And she realized I was like this little bumblebee going from flower to flower, doing a little here, doing a little there. And eventually, the end product is the basement got done. The basement was cleaned up and swept up and whatnot. But you need to have a strategy to maintain focus. It may be a strategy like sprinting to the finish line, using a timer to say, I've got to get this done. I use my visual timer all the time for things like this. A number of my clients take what I think of as a dog's eye view on concentrating on organizing your cleaning. The rest of the world may be falling apart, but this micro strategy results in a need to reduce feelings of being overwhelmed. You focus on one tiny little thing, and the rest of the world falls apart. You can easily feel overwhelmed if your goal is to clean the whole kitchen. But if you focus, say, entirely on the stove, yes, the stove gets clean, but the counters still need washing, the dishes still need doing. And if you stand back from the kitchen, it still looks like a mess. There are other people who take the big picture or macro focus approach to cleaning. You might need to say to yourself, we need to clean the whole house. You see the big picture all at once, and you get to start and you get started, but you struggle with specific decisions on where do you begin? How do I decide what to keep? What do I throw away? Should I start with the garage or the kitchen? Different levels of focus are appropriate for different problems or your goals. In a macro focus, we focus on the biggest picture where the greatest effort can be done in the shortest period of time. You may want to stuff things in bags and sort them later. It means focusing on the big picture and getting the whole thing in reasonable order. In my youth, my family sold several houses, and we would be stuck with the dilemma of a real estate agent would call and say, hey, I'm bringing someone over in 20 minutes. So we needed to take a macro focus. We had 20 minutes to get the house looking presentable. And this is like what you do when you're going to take that bigger focus. You want to look back at the whole and know that the whole is reasonably clutter-free and cleaned up. Another way for big focus is to walk around with a basket and pick up all the similar things and then go around the house and put them away. It's not unlike a person in a grocery store who is returning a whole bunch of lost items to the shelves. In detail focus, you work on a single room. You create a home for all of the items. The golden focus for this is a place for everything and everything in its place. You may want to gather items for shelving as well as throwaways, giveaways, long-term storage. This level of focus is appropriate once you've gotten your home into livable macro focus. Flexible focus is the most useful. It's where you can move to detail, but not spend much time on detail, and back again to macro focus. If this video is useful for you, I want you to do two things. I want you to thump that like button. I also want you to consider subscribing. I'm going to have more videos every week, and it relies on you to do these things to get it placed in the algorithm where it can be seen. So, hey, let that be my payback for something that's useful for you. Hit that like button, subscribe. How do we go about thinking about focus? Well, the first step is to think about what focus is appropriate for a task. If you're organizing, say, a closet, now, it's unlikely things in that closet are really going to belong in other places in the house. You may want to take it shelf by shelf or hanger by hanger. Sort clothes from the clothes closet. Take all the things off the shelf and decide what you need. The second step is really breaking things down into smaller pieces. Whether this is organizing a closet, hey, I'm going to work on just that top shelf right now. Or taking a larger project and thinking, what are demarcation points for progress? How can I take it into smaller steps that don't feel like I'm swallowing the whole of it all at once? Once you've broken things down, it's much easier to find that starting point and feel less overwhelmed. I want you to try something. I want you to walk around your home. Notice one particular closet and think about how you might organize that one closet. How can you break that down? Go through the main floor of your house and think about, okay, what is the best level of focus for me getting an overall environment that's better? That breakdown is one of the things that's most important to do. If you look at the whole place being cluttered and a mess, yes, it's going to be overwhelming. But let's say you just take one corner, one set of table and a chair, and you organize just that one part. Again, you're looking for everything having a place and everything in its place. It's getting rid of all of those cluttered things. When I clean my kitchen, I have three separate little countertops, and I start from one end and I go to the other. I don't touch anything on the far cabinet till I get that first cabinet done, and then I progress my way around. Look at your desk the same way. Now, my desk is often pretty cluttered. Some people say it's the artifact of a busy mind, but I want you to remember something about clutter. The physiology for clutter uses exactly the same neurons as physical pain. It allows you to clear your head in a workspace when that workspace is largely free of clutter. Remember, everything has its place and everything goes in its place. This is GH Glade for Everyday ADD Coaching. I'm glad you've joined me for this time. Again, remember to hit that like button and go ahead and think about subscribing. That way you can come back periodically and see what new things I have. Until next time, take care.